I'm not gonna lie, when BMW released the new generation M3, I wasn't sure if I was ever going to actually love it. The new grille was massive and took more than a couple glances to get used to, and the fact they went from a DCT to an automatic felt like a step in the wrong direction. That being said, after spending quality time with the new M3 and M4 competition, I can honestly say this is one of my favorite BMW M cars they've ever created. So with that, here are 5 reasons why I absolutely love the new M3. First up is the engine. The 6th generation M3 is the fastest, most powerful BMW M3 ever created. Under the hood is a 3-liter twin-turbocharged inline-6 that makes 503 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. But given how hard this thing pulls under acceleration, I wouldn't be surprised if those numbers are a bit underrated. BMW claims it's capable of sprinting from 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. I think it's a bit faster than that, and go on to a top speed of 180 miles an hour. The new car sounds a lot better than the old M3 as well. I'm gonna be honest, every time you let off the gas on the old F80 M3, it released this kind of overrun brap sound that sounded a lot more like a fart than a pleasing exhaust note. They've eliminated that entirely, and now it's this silky smooth sounding inline-6. I'll let you listen to it, and even inside the cabin, it sounds pretty good. Next up is the interior. The fit and finish, the choice of materials, the design language, every square inch of this M3 is leaps and bounds more luxurious and high quality than the last generation car. This is the most luxurious M3 that they have ever made. Everything is covered in beautiful soft leather. You've got an excellent array of different trim options to choose from. I love the feel of the new steering wheel. It's fantastic. Clicking the paddles is satisfying, as is clicking the M1 and M2 customizable buttons. It's got a brilliant new touchscreen, which is fantastic. It's responsive, the graphics are absolutely gorgeous, and it's easy to navigate. And also, the instrument cluster is now fully digital, 12.3 inches, and it's customizable as well. When you click this M mode in the center console, it changes it to this almost fighter jet style tachometer and speedo that is just absolutely awesome. And it has one of my favorite heads-up displays of any vehicle. We've also got the addition of ambient lighting. I'm a huge sucker for ambient lighting. There's a multitude of colors to choose from, and it really spruces up the interior at nighttime. We've also got some really trick new technological features in the interior as well. When you turn traction control all the way off, you can activate what's called the M Drift Analyzer, whereby the car actually provides a full analysis of how good you are at drifting. It just seems like such a fun, unique feature to have in a car, and I'm really glad they included it. Also, for daily driving practicality, we've got this extended traffic jam assistant. What that means is you click this button on the left of the steering wheel, and that can actually speed itself up and slow itself down up to 40 miles an hour and turn the car completely, almost full autonomous driving at speeds up to 40 miles an hour. This makes driving in traffic a heck of a lot more relaxing and easy, and it actually works at higher speeds as well, although you're supposed to keep your hands on the wheel at all times. But I love how easy it is to activate, just a click of one button. The third reason why I love the new BMW M3 competition so much is how well the launch control system finally works in the M3. I'm not gonna lie, the previous generation M3 launch control felt more like a burnout mode than it did an effective means of actually launching the car. For reference, Motor Trend achieved a 4.3 second 0 to 60 time with the 2016 BMW M3 competition. With the new car, it did it in 3.5 seconds. BMW claims 3.8, but honestly, after feeling over and over again how well this car launches, I believe 3.5 seconds all day long. The interesting part is, it actually takes off in second gear. This is one of the few cars I've ever tested where launch control activates in second gear from a standstill, but it turns out it gives it a much smoother takeaway, a lot less drama, and absolutely no wheel spin. All right, I think it's time for a couple launch controls. All right, check this out. We're at a standstill. Press and hold the traction control off button until it is fully off. There we go. Floor the brake with the left foot, floor the gas with the right foot. It says preparing launch control active, and boom, off the line, no wheel spin, shifts for you. And that 0 to 60 pull is intense. Fourth up is the M3's incredible daily drivability. This is the most comfortable, most daily drivable BMW M3 ever made. Despite the fact that it's incredible on track and in the canyons, in normal mode, it's actually an amazing commuter car, and you could travel long distances. I'm talking across the country road trips in this thing, absolutely no problem at all. It's got 13 cubic feet of storage in the trunk, which means you can fit tons of overnight bags and giant suitcases in there. It's actually pretty impressive how big the trunk is. These seats, considering they're not the sport carbon bucket seats, are very, very comfortable as well on your butt over long distances. It's also impressive how much space there is in the rear in terms of legroom and headroom. They've extended the length of the M3 quite a bit since the last generation. The good news is that gives you tons more legroom in the back. No longer do you have to be a child to fit back there. A full-size adult could spend 4 hours in the back seat of the M3, no problem at all. Honestly, this car in normal mode feels more like an M5 than it does an M3. And I mean that in a totally positive sense, that it's comfortable, it's luxurious, and you forget the fact that when you put it in sport mode, this is a full-fledged sports car. Lastly, and most importantly, considering the fact that this is a BMW M3, is that the driving dynamics are absolutely fantastic. The levels of mechanical grip that this M3 can achieve is actually astonishing. When you rip it around turns, there's absolutely no understeer. That front end bites so well. And while the steering and suspension feels a little bit more muted than previous generation M3s, the performance you actually get out of this car is leagues beyond the last generation M3. That car kind of struggled a bit with traction and would actually kind of break loose almost on purpose in between shifts for funness, but it ended up upsetting the balance of the car. This thing is so perfectly balanced and so glued to the ground, it's almost hard, almost impossible to lose traction in this thing. What I really do enjoy is that the traction control isn't too invasive, even with all of the traction and stability programs fully on. It lets you squeal the tires a little bit and it doesn't cut power. It's predictable, it's reliable, and it is so very much fun. And this engine pulls and pulls like nobody's business. The brake feel is great. This thing slows down really, really well. But overall, man, this new M3 competition is a downright blast to drive and leaves me grinning ear to ear the entire time behind the wheel. And that is the point of a sports car, right? What's the point if it's not an absolute blast that makes you smile? Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I'm gonna leave you with an epic point of view drive.